Peace, family. Peace, peace, peace. Listen, your girl is back. It has been a while since I've went live, since I made a video, etc., etc. And we are going to talk about the three, even though there's way more, but three spiritual downloads that I received during pregnancy and childbirth that Spirit has just been telling me is going to support not only me, but all of you who come in contact with this video um, in 2024 for spiritual rebirth. Like, I don't know if y'all have been feeling this energy, but it's been coming up a lot for me in terms of rebirth, rejuvenation, resurrection, right? 2023, y'all, this year has been very funny, right? Y'all can let me know in the comments if y'all have been feeling that way as well. Like, this year has just been different, right? And so there are some things that Spirit has shared with me that I feel like, or that I'm shaping my life around right now, that is actually going to support me and it will support y'all in this new year as well. Okay. And a lot of these downloads and these revelations came by way of my whole pregnancy and then the birth of our baby. And so I'm going to be sharing with y'all a little bit of the downloads, or a little bit about our birth, a little bit about my pregnancy, things that I probably did or did not share that are just important. So, to be real quick, pardon me for being a little bit later than the time I had wanted to come. Honey, it was like right when like 6:20 came and I was supposed to be like coming up here getting set up. Kai was like, I'm hungry. And honey, when I tell you the boy was eating and eating and eating, like he was not, he didn't need a snack, honey. He needed dinner. Okay. He needed dinner. And so, of course I had to oblige, and I'm glad to be here now. So what's up to y'all that are in the chat? Hey, Glass Moon 219. Hey, Nessa. Hey, Iman. Love you too, sis. All right. So listen, when I got pregnant with baby Kai, right, I had asked Spirit to show me in a dream why this baby was coming to us, right? And so I want y'all to know and understand that whenever you're being asked to manifest or to birth anything in life, no matter who you are, whenever you're being asked to birth something or give life to something, know and understand that it's for a reason. It's for a spiritual reason, a spiritual purpose, right? And so early in our pregnancy, I had went to bed. I said, okay, Spirit, why is this baby coming to us at this time? Like, what is this all about? And I had a dream about mushrooms, right? I'm like, what? Mushrooms? What the hell does that mean? So, of course, I go down this rabbit hole of researching mushrooms and what they're all about. And mushrooms are really this gateway between humanity and the spiritual realm, right? Mushrooms tap you into that spiritual essence, right? And so Kai has been my little mushroom baby throughout the entire pregnancy. Meaning he has, and mushrooms are also symbolic for rebirth, right? So I want y'all to connect all of these dots. Mushrooms are also symbolic for rebirth, resurrection, rejuvenation, right? And so I was just like, all right, this is my little mushroom baby. He's coming to resurrect something inside of me, to rebirth something inside of me, and something in the world as well, right? And so had that dream, did all of my research, and I was like, okay. And so the entire pregnancy has been about rebirth and rejuvenation. And the same thing took place within our birth. Within the labor and delivery, there was rebirth and rejuvenation for me, right? So one of the things that I want y'all to understand, and hey to everybody that's saying hey and congratulations, thank you, right? One of the big things, one of the major lessons that I've learned through our labor and delivery is that the body keeps the score. And we've talked about this before. I've talked about this in my class, Womb De-armoring. I talk about this just in general. But I got an even deeper understanding through our labor and delivery with baby Kai, right? So here's what happened, right? Here's what happened, right? I have been having on and off contractions for days. And I'm not talking about like Braxton Hicks, which is like if you've ever been pregnant or if you have a wife or somebody close to you that has been pregnant, Braxton Hicks is like the fake contractions. I wasn't having Braxton Hicks, right? I was having real contractions for like 2 hours, right? 3 hours, and then it would just stop. Some of y'all who are a part of our Patreon, you know, every Saturday we have a book club. Every Saturday and every Wednesday we have a book club where we come together. Well, Saturday, November 25th, we had to cancel the book club because I was literally having contractions. I had called my family. Dreamwise had put a message in the Geneva app and was like, hey, y'all, you know, baby's about to be on the way because I have been contracting for hours. And we were like, okay, this may be the real thing. But if you know anything about labor and delivery and birthing a baby, like it's not, you could think and feel or whatever like it's going to happen, but it happens when it's divinely supposed to happen, right? So Saturday morning, having those contractions, I was for days, right? This had been happening for multiple days. I would have contractions at night for a few hours. It wouldn't convert, right? Saturday morning, had those contractions, didn't convert. Now, it was spiritual that on Saturday we did not go fully into labor because, just being real, right? My grandfather passed away and his funeral was on that Saturday, November 25th. And I was like, and then Panic's celebration of life was also on November 25th. And so Dreamwise and I were talking. I'm like, I want my baby to have his own day, right? I don't want him to have to share a day with his grandpa's funeral or share a day with one of our great teachers' celebration of life. No, I want him to have his own day. So I was glad that the contractions stopped because we were able to go to our grandfather's funeral and celebrate his life, et cetera, et cetera. So that next day on Sunday, Dreamwise and I decided, okay, we know your body is getting ready to birth because you keep on having these contractions. We decided to go for a walk. We went walking for about 30 minutes, just, you know, trying to get it popping on Sunday. And on Sunday night, them contractions got real. Follow me here, right? Follow me here. So I'm having contractions on Sunday starting around like 5 p.m. and they're real and they keep happening. So I call my midwife and I'm like, yeah, I'm having contractions, but I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's going to convert. I've been tracking them and it seems like this may be the real deal. I may be in early labor. Cool. And she was like, all right, well, just chill for about an hour, continue tracking them, and then call me back in an hour. Based off of what you say to me, we'll determine if it's time to come to the birthing center. And so we did that. And we decided, okay, it was time to come into the birthing center. We went into the birthing center. And this is when some of the magic really started to happen, right? We got there. She checked me. I was 3 centimeters dilated. I'm like, okay, 3 centimeters dilated. Really would have liked to get here further along, but fine, we're here. The body keeps the score in the sense of almost 2 years ago to the day we were in labor with Kim. Almost 2 years ago to the day, right? And literally I'm having these contractions and I'm like, okay, something is feeling different. Something is feeling different. And so as I'm going through the process of contracting and laboring, I'm like, okay, midwife, I'm having these contractions, but the way that it's feeling, it's not following the normal progression or let me say normal. Yeah, normal is the best word. It's not following the normal progression of labor. Now, I was a midwife in a past life. I've delivered 2 babies unmedicated at a birthing center. So I know what to expect. Okay. I know what to expect. And what I was experiencing was not the normal expectation of birth and labor and delivery. And so my midwife and I were talking about it and really kind of meditating on what is my body doing? Because it was doing something that was not a part of the plan. Okay. And I'm going to talk to y'all about that a little bit later. But my body was doing something totally different, right? Which it gets deep. It gets super deep. And I'm excited to share this with y'all, even though it's my birth story. It's not the exact story that I wanted to tell, but it's my story nonetheless. And Spirit has revealed so much to me about it. So, anyways, I'm having these contractions now, and they're starting to feel like transition contractions, meaning they're coming every minute or every 2 minutes, right? They're coming like this, and they're lasting long. And so I'm like, body, spirit, what is happening? Why is my uterus working so hard right now? And then my cervix is not dilating. Like, why is my uterus contracting, but it's not necessarily changing my cervix? And so that was a question that I pondered upon, and in the moment didn't really get the answer until after the fact. So we decided, okay, we need to go to the hospital. Went to the hospital. She checked me again. The OB at the hospital checked me, said, yeah, you're 4 centimeters. You know, baby is -2 station. These are things some of y'all might not know about, but it is what it is. And we don't know what's going on. Y'all, when I tell y'all so much supernatural stuff was happening, it was not making any sense. Like when I tell y'all, you know, spirit is at play in your situation when you cannot make any logical sense of what is actually happening. And in my labor and delivery, nothing followed a normal plan, a normal labor and delivery. And birth is very natural. Like your body does these specific things. Boom, boom, boom. You got early labor, you got active labor, you got transition labor. You birth that baby, then you birth the placenta. It's very simple, right? No matter how society or the world makes birth seem, it's a very simple process. The body is very intuitive. It just knows what to do. My body was doing all types of weird stuff, right? They checked me. They said, when did your water break? We looking at each other like, when did my water break? Because we didn't know. Y'all, I did not have an experience of like, your water broke. No, didn't happen. I didn't even have an experience of water leaking and that being how I knew my water broke. Literally, we don't know when my water broke. The OB checked me. She said, I feel your baby's head, but I don't feel a water bag. When did your water break? My midwife, Dreamwise, and I were all like, we don't know when it happened, right? And then I'm going to tell y'all some more intimate stuff, but I'm going to save that for like the Sacred Sister Circle or when I teach womb alchemy again, because a lot of magic happened intimately and sacredly between Dreamwise and I during this labor and delivery that was so healing. There was one point in the labor and delivery where I was just crying, but I was crying these happy tears of like healing and transformation to where I couldn't control myself. I'm just like, why are these tears just flowing? And it's because Kai in this birth was actually healing aspects of myself. There were healing aspects of me. Anyways, end up having to have a C-section because we don't know what's going on. Like, why am I having these heavy contractions that I know is not following the normal progression? Why am I having contractions every minute, 2 minutes, and they're lasting a minute? I'm not getting no break. When I know I can do hard things, I know that I can do anything for a minute, right? I know that I can do this. But what I'm experiencing right now is something totally different. And so I truly feel like we had to have a C-section because my body was remembering the last experience we had, right? And I'm grateful for that. I want y'all to know and understand this. You may deal with something on the mental level, on the spiritual level, and even on the emotional level. But that does not mean that your body has totally purged that experience. And that's what Spirit had given me. Spirit had told me as I was kind of meditating on this, and I'm like, why did that happen? Why did my body go into next level high gear like that, right? And just start going hard. And my spirit said, well, that was for your protection. See, our bodies is always serving to protect us, whether we realize it or not. And that's why as spiritual people, we got to get out of this energy of like not taking care of ourselves holistically, right? Like a lot of times you may meditate, right? But you eat whatever the hell you want to eat. Or let's say you may eat healthy, you may even be vegan, but you don't have no physical fitness practice, right? Or you just totally disregard the body all in all because somebody told you the body is human. The reality is that our bodies are sacred. It's the temple of God, and your body knows things that even sometimes our minds can't comprehend. And that's what my spirit was telling me. My spirit was like, your body knows something that your logical mind and even the desires that you have can't conceptualize, right? Like in my mind, I'm like, I want to deliver this baby from my sacred portal on my own will, for my own, power. I want to push this baby out. But my body said, I know something that you don't know. So let me do this. So you have to go here and have to have this experience, right? But at least you and your baby will be safe. You want to know how I know this is true? I was meditating throughout my entire pregnancy, and a part of my meditation was, I trust my body, I trust my baby. And so Spirit was like, if you trust your body, then whatever it does and whatever the result is that come from that serves your highest good. But Spirit was like, your body keeps the score. It's like muscle memory. Now, why is this important going into 2024? This is important, family, going into this new year, this 8-year, specifically because of this concept of as within, so without. Right? As within, so without. And so what I'm looking into and what I would encourage y'all to look into is understanding how we can actually release some of these memories that are lodged into the muscles, into the tissues of our bodies. Okay? So literally you have to understand muscle memory is a real thing. And so the trauma, the triggers, the pleasure, all of that stuff is programmed into your cells. Put a check in the chat if y'all understand what I'm telling you. Okay? It's all memories, it's all codes, essentially, that is in your body. And once you've experienced something, okay, your body remembers how to do it again. So let me put it to you this way. Think about it. Let's say an orgasm, right? This is just straight up, right? Once you've trained your body to orgasm and to experience pleasure, your body knows what you're trying to do and it can recreate it. It can say, oh yeah, I've done that enough. Now I'm programmed for that pleasure. But it's the same thing with triggers, right? And it's the same thing with trauma. When let's say your heart always beats fast, or your hand, think about it like this. This is something that people do. You get nervous. You're meeting somebody new. Your hands start to sweat. That's a program that is in your body. Your body knows, oh, nervousness, hands start sweating. Armpits start sweating, nervousness. That's how you respond. Up, anger, heart starts beating fast. That's how you respond. Okay? So the body is really keeping the score. And so going into 2024, a lot of us, myself included, need emotional release therapy. What that is when we go to a specialized massage therapist, somebody who knows how to press on certain pressure points in our bodies to actually release the trauma or release the emotion, release the energy that is stuck or stored in our bodies. Some of you have experienced this before, where you got knots in your shoulders and your traps in your back. This stuff is not happening because you're slouched over at the computer at your job all the time. No, sometimes you got that knot in your shoulder or that knot in your back because of the emotions that you have experienced that you don't know how to process. They become solidified, right? So with me in my birth with baby Kai, my uterus was already like, we just experienced something traumatic 2 years ago. I don't know if we want to deal with that same type of thing again, or I don't know if we want to go through. My uterus essentially was like, I don't know if I want to go through all of that work again. So it was like, let's get this done, okay? And so I had to accept that. And of course I didn't, that's not what I wanted, but I had to realize, wow, my body is intelligent and it is doing what I need for it to do for me to ultimately be safe, for my baby to be safe, and for us to be here. Okay. I heard a young lady say this and it was so real. And it was like, okay, it was one of those moments where I was like, all right, that's real. She was like, we're not having natural births essentially for the glamour because it looks cute, right? We're doing it and we're striving for that so that our babies can enter this world in a sacred and divine way. And I had to think to myself, wow, that's so dope and that's so real and that's so beautiful. But when that's not possible, for very real reasons, that's also divine. That's also sacred. And that's also what needed to happen. And so there's more to come from that. All right. So, family, if you got this consistent nagging pain, right? A lot of you have taken womb alchemy, and I appreciate you for that. We're going to start womb alchemy again, maybe in like February or something like that. But a lot of you have taken some classes with me and you've processed your trauma on the mental, emotional level, which is great. But sometimes we have to literally address the organ, the muscle, the energy itself. And like I said, that's important going into this new year because as within, so without. I had my mind made up that I was having a vaginal birth at a birth center. My body said something different. Okay. My body said, well, this is what we really got going on. This is the reality of the situation. And this is what's going to happen in your external world. So we really want to do a lot of body work going into the new year because we're dealing with this 8, we're dealing with this infinity, we're dealing with the aspect of as within, so without. We're dealing with correspondence. There's no way around it. And so if you have some blocked energy, repressed emotion, repressed traumas, like I said, that you may have rationalized mentally or emotionally, you also want to make sure that you've worked through wherever you stored that energy at in your body. Because the reality is that when we experience emotion or trauma and we don't know how to healthily deal with it, we put it somewhere. It doesn't go away. Why? Because energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So some of us put it in our backs or in your breast or in your womb or in your head. Have y'all saw the show Black Cake? There's this show called Black Cake on Hulu that Dreamwise and I have been watching, and it's so good. And they show you exactly what I'm expressing to you right now. In the show Black Cake, I recommend y'all go and watch it because it is a great show. In the show Black Cake, just to give you a synopsis, this mother is she's about to die, essentially. She's about to die of a brain tumor. The whole story is about how she has just kept inside of her everything from her past, everything from her life. She has not shared it with her kids, right? All of these secrets, right? All of these childhood experiences, she's kept it to herself, kept it in her own mind, had not expressed it, and she has a brain tumor. And so before she dies, she leaves her kids messages where she tells them everything about herself, where she tells them where she came from, her family, her past. Well, prior to that, her kids thought she was an orphan. They thought she didn't know her family. She had no past. She had no history. When the reality is she had a very deep and a very interesting past that she was just ashamed to share. What am I telling you that for? It's a depiction of how When we don't know how to process things mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it creates something in our bodies. And our bodies respond and our bodies show up and behave in a certain way. So, this starting now, y'all, you have to do something physical with your body. We really need to be tapping into massage therapy. We really need to be tapping into Reiki, acupuncture, acupressure. Something else that has been coming up a lot that many of you, Spirit was telling me earlier today, that many of you, myself included, need to get into Qigong. Because what Qigong is we're gathering a whole bunch of chi from everything around us, from the earth. We're just gathering this energy into our bodies. And when we have this energy in our bodies, when we have this livelihood, this vitality in our bodies, it gives us the strength, it gives us the power to show up in our external world. All right. And let me tell y'all, a lot of you are in a place right now where you're questioning your job, your work-life balance, your finances. I know, right? I know I've received multiple messages over the last week or so from people just in this space of, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to use my energy. And I'm telling y'all right now, we need more chi. We need more life force. And so we cannot allow these trapped emotions, unhealed trauma, things like that. You cannot allow that stuff to drain you to where you don't have the vitality to approach this crazy ass world. Okay. So make sure, don't wait till January 2024 for you to be like, oh, I'm going to be eating healthy, and oh, I'm going to be exercising, and oh, I'm going to be doing these things. No, you need to start right now. Some of y'all wait to the new year and you don't have that motivation. You don't have that inspiration to do things new. But I'm telling you right now, it is very important that we pay attention to our bodies in this new year. Okay. In this 2024 year, in this 8 year, in this infinity year, where our external world is reflecting our internal world, understand your body literally corresponds to the universe. Okay. So remember that you got muscle memory, you got some things going on that, you may not be aware of mentally, but your body is talking to you. Your body is talking to you and you got to listen. So when I was having them contractions, I was listening. I was like, I'm talking to myself like, what is this? Because I know what labor is supposed to be. Right? And let me tell you a juicy side of this, a juicy, sexy side of this, because it's not all trauma and triggers, it's pleasure too. You need to be able to tap into your pleasure too. So y'all know when you're pregnant, your stomach gets big and it's hard to have that intimacy that you want, right? That sexy time that you want. The other day I was sitting on the couch and I don't know, my body reminded me of how good intimacy is without that big old belly. Because I'm telling y'all, with that big old belly, it's like, you move in this big old belly, you don't want to do nothing. That's probably why Dreamwise always comes online and says that, like, I'm treating him like a slave or something. It's because, with that big old belly, you can't move. You don't want to move. It's so heavy. It's so much to do. It's like, I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to lay here. Okay. I'm just going to lay here. I'm just going to sit here. And so the other day, my body remembered how good it feels to be an active participant in this sacred coming together with my husband and I. You understand? I could feel in my body how good, how delicious, and how sweet that's going to be now that I don't have this, this watermelon in front of me. Do you understand? Again, that's another example of the body keeping the score and the body remembering. Okay, you can always tap into it. The second thing that y'all need to understand for 2024, that's going to be a very big deal for us. I've said this in another video. I'm going to say it again. Is you're going to have to stand on your work, right? And so Spirit had kind of been preparing me in a sense, not obnoxiously, but in a sense, Spirit had been preparing me for the possibility of having a C-section, right? Because I remember about 2 weeks before our baby, maybe a week or so before our baby, maybe it was 2 weeks. I don't know, some days. Some days before Kai was born, me and Kimmy were going for a walk. I'm full blown pregnant. We're going for a walk. I'm trying to do my part, right? And I hear the old gospel song, after you've done all you can, you just stand, right? I'm like, why am I channeling that song? Why is that song coming through? And Spirit had just comforted me and said, you've done all you could do with this pregnancy. You know, you've ate well, you've exercised, you've bounced on the ball, you've taken your supplements, you've done all you can do to have the birth that you desire to have. After you've done all you can, you just stand. And so, of course, with that thought, I'm thinking, okay, if I've done everything that I could do to have the birth that I desire to have, and it doesn't happen, what does that mean? Right? And Spirit has said it just means that God, the divine, your higher self, has a greater plan, has a deeper reason as to why you had to do something different. And we've all had that experience before, right? Where you think in your mind that this is what you want, this is what you need, this is what has to happen for you, and something totally different happens. And you know, here's what I want y'all to know, that is a very big deal. When plans change divinely, sacredly, and it is out of your control, when plans change, you must have gratitude. So for me, it didn't really hit me that the plan that I had to deliver this baby in the tub, right? It didn't really hit me that that was not happening and that that didn't happen until a few days later, right? But as I was preparing for the C-section, as I got finished with the C-section, I'm laying on the table, and I'm grateful because this was different than with Kimmy's. With Kimmy's C-section, this is so crazy. With Kimmy's C-section, she was actually distressed, right? So her heart rate was dropping very, very low, and it wasn't coming back up. So they were in a rush to get her out. Okay. And I respect that. And they had to put me to sleep. Very traumatic though. I'm asleep. Next thing you know, I'm waking up and I'm like, where's my baby? Baby was in the NICU. Okay. With this situation though, it wasn't an emergency to where it's like, you got to get put down now, da, 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 da. I was actually able to be awake and do that whole gentle C-section process where Dreamwise is right here with me. He takes pictures of the baby. Baby gets to come and sit with me while they stitching me up or whatever, all of that stuff like that. It was a very sweet experience. It was a very healing experience, right? Because the last experience I had, I didn't have that. The last experience 2 years ago was like, you don't have no time for nothing. You're not seeing the baby. The baby is in the NICU. I didn't get to see Kimmy, y'all, until 12 hours later after having her. That's traumatic. With Kai, immediately I got to see him. Immediately after they finished sewing me up, we got to do skin to skin. So it was a great healing experience, right? The point that I'm making to you all is, after you've done all you can, you have to have that gratitude. Because what that is symbolic of is you're just trusting that Spirit is taking the lead, right? Because our higher selves has a vision of the past, the future, and the present moment. And it understands why certain things has to happen the way it is, right? I feel like a part of the C-section, me having a C-section, had saved me, literally, because with Kimmy, she was distressed. With this C-section, we didn't know what was happening with me. We didn't know why my contractions was moving in the way that it was moving. And I do a lot of research, right? And as I've researched it, none of it makes sense, right? Like, it's not textbook. You can't go to Google and say, why is this happening? Okay. The only one reason that could make logical sense as to why my contractions was moving like how they were moving was if Kai was not in the optimal position. If he was, I'm getting too technical and I don't want to get too technical with y'all. But if he wasn't in the right position, then the contractions can happen like that. But that wasn't the case. He was in optimal position. He was where he needed to be. So spiritually, there was something that my higher self and my body was protecting me from. And when he was born, baby, he was perfect, right? When he was born, he didn't have no issues. Went straight into dad's hand, and dad brought him right over to me. Okay. So I had to have gratitude. Yes, I'm not having the baby at the birth center. Yes, I'm not in the water. I've done all that I could do. So now that the situation has changed and shifted, this means that, for lack of better words, 'cause I know y'all all spiritual, this means now that I have to surrender control and let the divine, let God, let the Most High do what it do. Do we understand that? In 2024, you got to do your work now, right? You got to do your stuff. All right. Like I said, in preparation for this labor, I did everything I could possibly do. Everything I could possibly do to make sure that my mind, my spirit, my energy, talking about meditations, talking about hypnotherapy, talking about everything, eating, supplements, I did everything that I could possibly do. So if something does not convert in the way that I desire for it to, I have to know and understand that the Most High, my higher self, has a greater plan in store. That's very important in this 2024. Okay? That's very important in this new year, y'all. Do not allow, as we are going into this new year, do not allow what things look like in the physical reality make you feel like you're out of sync, like you're out of balance, or like it's not working out in a divine way. No matter what it looks like, it is still serving your highest good. And that's just the truth. But you have to adopt that mentality and not waver on that. And I'll be honest, honey, after we got home after 2 days in the hospital, which was good. We healed up just fine. I started to get a little bit emotional, right? And that's kind of the postpartum emotions. If y'all ever had a baby, the hormones are up and down there everywhere. I started to feel some type of way. But it wasn't, I guess it was because it wasn't necessarily about the C-section itself, but it's about the recovery, because when you deliver a baby vaginally, for the most part, you up and you getting it immediately, right? With our first two kids, honey, we up and out. And let me say this too, and I think I may make a whole separate video on this. Ladies, if you want children, don't wait, right? I know like some things are out of our control, like I'm just talking about, but I tell you, the older you get, the harder it gets. That's just the truth. Unless you are one of these women that, oh God, exercise is not new to you, eating healthy is not new to you. Like you are that girl when it comes down to your health and wellness. If you are that girl, right? Your hormones are nice and balanced. You eat nice and balanced meals. You exercise regularly. You're not stressed the hell out, because all of that stuff is important, right? Have your baby after 35, going into your 40s. Do that if you can. But I'm telling you, as a 31-year-old, this experience, this recovery, even though it's a different birth, right, was totally different than when I was 24, 25. Even y'all, when you get into them 30s and you have them kids, you better make sure that your support system is solid, because your body don't got that, that snapback. And I'm not talking about how your body looks aesthetically. I'm talking about energetically. 20-something-year-olds having babies, 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, teenage pregnancies. Honey, them girls, myself included, because I had our first kid in my early 20s. You had that baby and you like, let's go. What's next? Moving on. Right now, I gotta sit down. I gotta sit down. I gotta chill out. I'm not doing no extra stuff, right? I gotta just relax. That's because the body has been through more. When you get to 30, 35, 40, your body has experienced more stress, right? Than when you were 20 something. And so it literally makes a difference. So for all the young ladies out there, I'm not telling you to rush and just have a baby without anybody or anything like that, but I am telling you it ain't no perfect time to have a child, right? And a lot of times people are like, I'm gonna wait till I'm making this amount of money until I live here and I'm done, all of those things like that. You get 35, 36, 37, 38, 40, right? And it's a whole different ball game, right? And so if you are already in your 30s and you know you want a kid, take care of yourself because your body is keeping the score. Like I said in this first thing, your body is keeping the score. So make sure that you're actually eating well. Make sure that you're getting massage therapy, acupuncture, acupressure. Make sure that you have like a yoga practice or a qigong practice. Make sure that you are eating well and you're not going to a job every day that is stressing you the hell out. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself so that your body can perform this miracle of pregnancy and then get through and have a healthy, safe labor and delivery. Okay, you want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself holistically. All right. That was a little side note that I was thinking about the other day because I'm like, ooh, this is different how I'm feeling right now. Okay. So understand in 2024, y'all, don't look at things for what it looks like on the physical, right? Always choose to see things as if they're serving your highest good because they actually are. But so many people lack discipline, mental and emotional discipline, and you need accountability. So the one day that I was feeling sad, right? I woke up in the morning, took a shower or whatever, Dreamwise had the kids, and he comes in the room and I got tears. Now, mind you, postpartum hormones is real. He comes in the room and he's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just in so much pain," because I was. And it was that pain in my body that triggered this emotion that said, this is why I wanted to have a vaginal birth. This is why I wanted to birth at the birthing center. So I wouldn't be in this pain. So that I could move around and tend to our other kids and tend to our home. And Dreamwise said to me, he said, you got to look at the bigger picture. Like, I know this doesn't feel good, but you're here. Our son is here. Like, we are well. We are at home. Right? Like stay focused on that. And honey, I wiped those tears and I said, you're right. Now, mind you, all of the days prior to that, I was just in praise and worship essentially. Because I understand that for this to happen, this means that spirit was working something out on our behalf, right? So after you done all you can, you just stand. So spirit channeled this to me. Because a lot of people right now, and even going into the new year, there's going to be a lot of discussions about jobs and work and income and money or whatever. Spirit said this to me to share with y'all. After you've done all you can, just stand, right? After you've applied for them jobs, right? After you done looked at different investment opportunities and did what you could do, after you done taken care of the priorities in your life, after you've done all of those things, that's it. Okay. But essentially, what we're talking about is you have to follow your guidance. You have to do the things in this 2024. You have to do the work. You want to know why? Because a lot of times when things don't go the way we planned it, the reason why you can't have gratitude in those moments is because you know you didn't do your part. See, I had no other option with this C-section but to have gratitude, even though I'm feeling them pull and tug and all of that, and I still am dealing with things today. I have no other option but to have gratitude for the simple fact that I know that I know that I know that I did my part mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Meditating, reading up on birth, walking regularly, I mean, taking my supplements, bouncing on the ball, stretching, yoga, exercise. I did my part. So why would I be mad that the result did not come out in the way that I desire for it to go when I know I did what I needed to do? Why would I be upset? Do y'all understand that? Let me know in the chat if y'all understand that. I can't be upset with the result when I know I did what I need to do, because that means something greater is at play. Something more divine, something more sacred has taken over this situation, right? And so as we are in 2024, remember that because who knows what's about to come, right? Who knows what's about to come as far as like politics? Who knows what's about to happen as far as all of the stuff, financially, when it comes down to recession and all of that, right? And so, when we look from the outside, when we are observing this world and this reality right now, like, you really have to be tuned into your spiritual power. You really have to be tuned into your divine knowing, because the way the world looks right now and the way things are unfolding, it just don't make any sense, right? It doesn't make absolutely any sense at all. And so what are you going to lean into, right? You got to lean into the fact that you're doing your part. And that's one thing that Dream and I are constantly stressing in all of our classes on Patreon, et cetera, et cetera. We're always stressing, like, are you really doing the work? Like, are you really doing the meditations, right? Like, are you really, even when you come out of your meditation and you're moving through life and you're doing your thing, are you really embodying that energy that you're, asking spirit to activate and enliven inside of you? Are you really living in that desire? Are you really living in that manifestation? When you know that you are, like what Sticky Too Sweet Too said, when you know that you are, that's when that grace comes into play, right? That's when that grace comes into play. That's when magic starts to happen, because you've just surrendered to the divine and you're just like, what's meant to be will be, right? So y'all can go and listen to that song by Cleo Soul. It's called Life Will Be. Life will be. It will be. Just you believe in you, and that's it. The last thing that I want y'all to know for 2024 that is important, that my pregnancy and my labor and delivery has really showed me, is that you have to call back pieces of you in order for you to tap into a deeper level of peace. I realize this when we're talking to different people, Dreamwise and I. A lot of people that we kind of work with and talk to aren't experiencing a deep level of internal peace, right? They're like up and down everywhere and just not really feeling connected and empowered and just knowing and understanding. They don't feel this inner knowing, just like, I know that I know that I know, And so Spirit is like, this is the year that you call back pieces of yourself that you fragmented. All right. I did a whole video on this on Patreon. So Patreon family, if y'all haven't tapped into that video, go watch it. I did a whole video on this earlier today. 2024 is about calling back your fragmented pieces so that what you project onto the world is whole. Oh God. Let me say that to y'all again, because I want y'all to understand this really. With 2024 being the infinity, being the 8 symbol, as within, so without, everything in continuation, everything in a cycle, everything connected. You don't want to be projecting out into the world, which will be reflected back to you, a fragmented self, meaning a you not in your own wholeness. Okay, you not feeling complete within you, right? And so I told this story on Patreon that this pregnancy really taught me. During the summer, when we did the Mystic Mind conference, I had realized, y'all, that I had fragmented a part of myself that had pride. I had fragmented a part of myself that was that needed to celebrate myself, that needed to be proud of myself, that needed to say, you go girl, you're the shit, pat yourself on the back, you got this, right? I had let that part of me go when I was a kid, right? That part of me that was proud of the work that I did, that part of me that would celebrate me, that would give myself a hug, that would uplift me, that part of me, I had let that go as a kid, right? For protection reasons. Through my pregnancy with Kai, I was forced to call that energy back. Okay. And what that has done for me and what that is doing for me right now is, one, it's allowing me to sit in my own success, no matter what that looks like, no matter what realm that is in, whether as household stuff or spiritual coaching stuff or classes or whatever. Like, no matter what it is, calling that part of me back has allowed me to even to love myself deeper and to celebrate myself and to push myself to be greater from a place of gratitude rather than from a place of bitterness. Okay. And so for 2024, you want to look, family, you want to look at the parts of yourself that you surrendered because you were overcompensating, over giving, over sharing, over supporting, because you were pouring into other people's cup because you thought that's what you needed to do in order to be acknowledged, accepted, loved, worthy, whatever. You want to call back those pieces of yourself. You want to go on a journey starting now. You need to go on a journey asking yourself, what parts of me have I let go of that I need back today? Hell, I had a coaching session today, which was so good, where I came on camera looking like how I look right now. And my client was like, oh my God, look at you. I'm like, yeah, girl, I got to come on here correct because that's who I am, right? And she was like, you don't know how much that has inspired me. She said, because you know, I know I look good, but I don't put any effort into, my looks and things like that. I said, yeah, what would be the benefit of you waking up, putting on clothes that make you feel good, putting on some lipstick, a lip gloss, whatever? What would be the benefit of that? And she was able to say, how it makes her feel and what it does for her partner, et cetera, et cetera. These are the things that I'm talking about. Everybody, all of us, at some point in our lives have fragmented ourselves for survival. Whether that is you don't think you're a great speaker, you're afraid to talk and speak up for yourself, you're afraid to put yourself out there even though you know you got talent. You know what I mean? You go into rooms and you play small because you don't want to ruffle any feathers. Like, these are the things that we're talking about that you need to start calling back and working on right now through transforming your beliefs, so that in 2024, what you are projecting and what you are receiving back from the world is whole, is love, it's confident, it's appreciated, it's uplifted, it's supported. You know what I mean? It's divinely guided. This is the work that we have to do. So I just wanted to tell y'all those 3 things going into 2024. Throughout my pregnancy with Kai, there was so many things that I ended up calling back into myself, right? I called back this power and this knowing of hosting sacred spaces. I call back sacred sisterhood with my family, because prior to this, my past birthday, y'all here on the internet was the only spaces where I was hosting things live, where I felt supported and loved and uplifted. In my physical world with my immediate family and friends, I always felt like I was giving to them. I'm supporting them. I'm uplifting them. And this past year, throughout this pregnancy, Spirit said, no, 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 no. Call back you being supported in the physical, in the present moment by the women who are around you. And not you always pouring into them. Let them pour into you. Be open to them pouring into you. I had to call back that part of me that would allow myself to be supported by other women. Do you understand that? And so as I go into the new year, I am supported, right? Hell, my mama was over here the day we went into labor. The day we went into labor, my mother was over here. She like, oh, let me do that. Let me do that. And I was resisting. I was like, no, mama, you don't got to do that. No, mama, you don't got to do that. Spirit said, girl, let your mama do all of that stuff. Sit your pregnant self down. And I sat myself down, and my mama cleaned up and straightened up and ironed the kids' clothes for school. She did all of those things. But I had let that part of me go that was okay with receiving help from other women. And that's fragmented. Why is that fragmented? Because anytime somebody called me, what can I do? How can I help? Let me support you. Let me da 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 da. And so that's out of balance. And so Spirit was like, no, no, no. Going into this new year, call back all of those aspects of yourself, all of those beliefs, all of that power, all of that strength, all of that sacredness that is you. Call it back into the fullness of who you are, so that what you're putting out is complete, and therefore what you are receiving is complete, and you're not just receiving some halfway shit. Do we understand? All right, let me get downstairs. I appreciate y'all. Kai has been clearly behaving, or Dream Wise is doing a great job on daddy duty, y'all, because I have not heard any tears, any crying, any screaming, nothing. Okay, so clearly things are working out down there. I hope this energy that I just shared with y'all, these channels that I received over the last few days, I hope they resonate with y'all, and I hope that you apply it and that you embody it. Okay, because it's real. Your physical body is important. Start doing some qigong, some yoga, some whatever. Put yourself in situations where you're forced to release that trauma. What else did I say? Stand on your work. Stand on your work. When you know you've been doing your work and things don't go the way that you've planned it, it's because something bigger and better is happening. And you got to believe that. You got to have faith in that. And you got to have gratitude in that. Don't be bitter in those moments. Be grateful in those moments. Because if you're bitter, that means you don't trust and you don't have faith and you don't know that everything is actually working out better than you imagine. Go listen to that song, Better Than I Imagined, by Robert Glasper, her, and some other lady whose name I can't pronounce right now. I can't pick it up right now. Right? So go listen to that, Better Than I Imagined. Because when things don't go the way you planned, it's because it's working out better than you imagined. Right? And I believe that for myself, right? And you got to believe that for yourself. And then lastly, call back all your shit, right? You know, if you know you are artistic, if you know you're not autistic, I meant artistic. If you know you are artistic, if you know you are creative, if you know you are powerful, like Static Shock said, stand on your business, okay? Stand on your business, know who you are, and stop letting the world or your family or whoever else make you forget all that you are capable of. Call all of that power back, stand on it, and do your work, okay? That's my quick message for y'all. It's supposed to be quicker, but hey, Spirit moves in its own divine ways. So I'll be seeing y'all around. I'll see y'all tomorrow on Dreams and Desires. Y'all won't see me, but you'll hear me. And we'll be talking soon. Peace, family.